Welcome to Aya, and welcome to Aya Golden Energy Healing. So now it's time to talk about chakras in more detail. We've already had a lesson showing you the major chakras, and we've also had a lesson on chakra breathing for self-healing, and we've had a lesson on the energy body in general, and using the chakras as entry and exit points to the energy body. Well, there's always more to know about chakras, and we want to encourage you to understand how important chakras are to health and well-being in so many ways. So, just to remind you what you know so far. You've learnt about the 7 major chakras that are located on the spinal column. The root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the brow, and the crown. And you also know they sit on the spine, but they have openings where energy is coming in and out of the energy body. Some have 1 opening and some have 2. You also know that the root chakra opening faces downwards towards the feet, and the crown chakra faces upwards over your head. Actually, there are hundreds of chakras around the energy body. And when people talk about how many chakras there are, it really does depend on how many chakras they're including in their chakra system. We actually teach many different chakra systems. For example, we teach the 5 chakra system for self-healing, because the 5 emotion regulating chakras are the most important for well-being. That's the root to the throat. We also teach the 7 chakra system for golden energy healing because they're the biggest entry points to the energy body. That's just adding the brow and the crown. And then we teach the 9 chakra system if we're talking about Kundalini and self-realization, because the Kundalini system includes all 9. That's adding the 8th and the 9th, which are above your head. And sometimes we add in the 2 hand chakras or the 2 feet chakras. There's even other chakras that we talk about sometimes. For example, there's a big spleen chakra just about here. That's actually a derivative of the solar plexus chakra. There's also a reproductive chakra, which is a derivative of the sacral chakra. Also, there's a chakra midway up the arms and the legs, dotted around. And in fact, there's loads of small chakras all around the body. But in most cases, we don't do much with them in terms of healing. It's just good to know about them. So let's go back to the major chakras, and in particular, the emotion chakras. Because when we're giving healing to others, there's always chakra work to be done. Even if you're working on a medical problem in the material body, there's always unblocking of chakras to be done at the same time. That will help with their general emotional state. And sometimes the medical problem might even be as a result of the chakra blockages. So let's talk about how to unblock a specific chakra. Remember, it's only the emotion-regulating chakras that can get blocked up with emotional energy. You learned that when we did chakra breathing. So firstly, I want to remind you about your energy senses, your kinesthetic and visual energy senses. And in this case, especially the intuitive visual sense. This is where it's really going to help you. You need to be able to look at someone and see immediately which chakras are blocked. And by the way, sometimes you might even just get a sense of knowing instead of actually seeing them. That's okay as well. And you can also use your hands if you prefer. You can use your kinesthetic energy sensitivity. And you can tell if a chakra is blocked because you get pushback. The energy won't go in. So let's say we found a chakra that's blocked up and you want to unblock it. You're going to need to pull that blockage out of the chakra and into your energy body through your hand chakras. Now, to do that, you need to know a little bit about how the energy moves in and out of the chakra. So let's take this one as an example, the solar plexus chakra. The opening is about that big or so. The sacral, by the way, is about that big. It's the biggest one, but the solar plexus is smaller. But in the opening, there's 2 sections. In the center, you've got a jet of yellow energy spiraling out, getting fired out quite powerfully. It's like a fountain of energy, all the way up to about here or so. You can actually feel it if you're really careful, but you really need to practice with your energy sensitivity though. And then there's a ring around the edge where the energy is getting sucked inwards. Now, the next very important thing to understand is the direction of flow. The energy doesn't just move straight in and out. It moves in a circular way. As it gets sucked in, it spirals in a clockwise direction. As it gets fired out, it's spiraling out in an anti-clockwise direction. So this is really important to know, because when you want to get energy in or out, you visualize the energy flow, right? Well, if you also visualize the spiraling motion, it flows much better. And by the way, just to make it easy, it's like screwing in a screw into a bit of wood or something. Clockwise to go in, anti-clockwise to come out. So to unblock the blockage, all you have to do is hold your hand above the chakra and visualize the blockage in the chakra. Form the intent that you're sucking out the energy of the chakra in an anti-clockwise motion. Imagine that it's creating a huge amount of suction. Then you visualize it breaking up the blockage, and the blockage just gets sucked up through your hands and into your energy body. Don't forget what we said in the previous lesson about neutralizing negative energy. Make sure you pull it into the solar plexus storage area and apply a neutralization, visualization, or mantra. Now you might think, how will I know when it unblocks? Well, that just comes down to experience, really. Sometimes you'll feel it unblock, or sometimes they'll feel it, or sometimes you'll just know. Other times you may not know at all, and if that's the case, you should just spend enough time on it that will give it a chance to unblock. But what do you do if it's not unblocking? In this case, what you can do is use another technique, which is a bit more powerful. It's the same thing really, but it's going a bit further with your energy programming. It uses white energy to unblock the chakra. This is for a really stubborn blockage. You're doing pretty much the same thing, but you're going to add more to the visualization and take it to the next level. So while you're holding your hand above the chakra, you visualize white energy going into their chakra through your hand, and you add the intention that the white energy is for unblocking. Now, we're using white frequency just because that's the frequency that's best for that particular job. So you visualize the white deblocking energy going into the chakra and dissolving the blockage. You're still applying the suction effect as well. So the blockages just dissolve and all the pieces get sucked up through your hands and into your energy body. Now, don't forget that the front side of the chakra has a different opening to the back side. So you have to ask your recipient to turn over so you can work on the back aspect as well. So sometimes a whole healing session can be based around a chakra clearing on all the emotion chakras. You can go over each emotion chakra in turn and unblock each one along the front, and then go over the back aspects as well once the recipient's turned over. And by the way, the root chakra is at the base of the spine, and the opening faces downwards towards the feet. So you obviously can't hold your hand close to there. So just hold your hand around here, and the chakra cord will connect up. Now, if you remember, in the last lesson, we talked about the golden energy refresh exercise. Well, actually, after any healing session, you should always replenish their energy body with golden energy. The only exception is when you're giving emotional energy healing, but we'll go through that later on. So after you've unblocked all the chakras in your healing session, you always visualize filling them back up again. And you can use the breath to help you with that. I won't go through it now, we've already done that one. Okay, and lastly, in a previous lesson, we went through how the emotion chakras get blocked up with negative emotional energy due to negative emotions. We also talked about how they tend to keep getting blocked up constantly. So remember, you can unblock someone's chakras in about a 20-minute healing session, but a month later, they might be all blocked up again. So it needs to be a constant task of keeping on top of them. As a healer, it's always a good idea to teach some of these concepts to your recipient of healing. We really want to get across the idea of self-reliance. You can give someone a helping hand by unblocking their chakras, but wouldn't it be even better to teach them how to do it themselves? For example, using chakra breathing. It would really help them in their healing journey, and it would really help you if there were less blockages to deal with every time they sat down with you for a healing session. And you can always point them in the direction of our self-healing course, the Aya Healing Pyramid. Okay, that'll probably do for now. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to get the other lessons. See you soon.